For my bad English, I will try to expose the concept that we built with Selma since 2007. So Dream City is a multidisciplinary biennial of contemporary art in public space. It is designed in the shape of multiple itineraries in the Medina in Tunis, or Old Town. It features all art genres through original site-specific creations made specifically for the festival by local, regional, or international artists who come beforehand in artistic residencies for the purpose. First edition took place in November 2007. Dream City developed to become a full-fledged biennial, which so far has inhabited the Medina of Tunis. Dream City is also an open-air urban exhibition. It is held after the completion of artistic residencies in the different cities of Tunis, offered to invited local and international photographers. The exhibition is made on billboards and advertisement panels so as to take art out of conventional galleries and offer it to the largest possible number. Artistic language challenges the mechanism of marketing industry, a highly commercialized tool in modern urban life. In 2012, 4 photographers produced original series of photos on the theme of unhunted bodies in public space. Dream City explores the relation between the city, its heritage, and its inhabitants through reclaiming new territories for contemporary art. The audience roaming the streets and alleys of the Medina, following different indicated paths, going from one artwork to another and exploring the transformed spaces integrated within the daily social life, culture, and heritage. Cafes, private houses, chapels, restaurants, schools, squares, streets, libraries, roofs. Ten artistic residencies were held in 2012 for international and regional artists. '58 Tunisian creations were produced by Dream City from 2007 to 2012. Audiences for Dream City 2012 reached 17,000 people. "300 students volunteered for Dream City 2012. Dream City is initiator of artistic and innovative projects in public space in Tunisia, working in articulation with its territory. Dream City presents artworks that develops a critical approach to the city, its heritage, the collective memory, citizenship, and politics. Dream City created the laboratories for art in public spaces, led by local and international participants. These laboratories are held for 9 months by artists and consultants, sociologists, art critics, journalists, city planners, architects, philosophers, etc. These laboratories are parallel to the works in progress of the artists and accompany the stage of production, creating connection between theoretical debate and field work. We work also to introduce art in public schools. Our educational projects aim to foster the pupils' pedagogical familiarity with contemporary art. Kharga City is a workshop in public space and the composition of artistic itineraries designed specifically for children within the framework of the Dream City Festival. The next one, it will be in 2015, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 of November. And the theme, it will be the art and social fabric. And for this edition, we invite Jan Rossens, curator, director, artistic director of the of the KVS, sorry. It's a Flemish theater in Brussels. Thank you.
Anybody has questions about Dream City?
And in the last edition of Dream City, there were some political things happening. Did that cause any issues of any of the public projects that you were doing at the time? Did you have to change locations, or did you have to?
No. Yeah. I will try. I will try. No, I will try to say it in English. Yeah. In fact, yeah. The last we scared a lot about the last Dream City, because there is the attack against the USA embassy in Tunisia, and there is also attacks for against a lot of artists in Tunisia, and all these artists. A big part of these artists were in the programmation, yeah. So, and we, this kind of situation and the political tension in the city show us that the Médinois, the person who lives in the Medina, protect really the biennial. And they really protect the artists and all the project, because today the project is their project.
I want to know if the program has been closed for this particular event in November?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah, for the yeah, the next. عندي أسماء الارتست, but yeah, yeah. Yeah, and we will start the first residency in May, from 3 to 17 May in Tunisia, and we open spaces to African, for artists coming from South Afrique subsaharienne, yeah, and the MENA region, of course, and open to the European also artists. Yeah.
For the next one, when will you be taking proposals for that? Not this one, obviously, if it's closed, but for the next one?
Yeah, لا لا بنروح للفنانين in fact. We choose. Yeah.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
Merci.
شكرا سفيان.
شكرا.
Okay, yeah, that's much better. Thank you, Tarek. Thank you, Hor, and thank all of you. Thank Yongwu. Yes, in fact, I prepare a 1 hour presentation and I only have 40 minutes, 20 minutes. So I will ask Tarek to show me when I have half of the time, not the end, please. So, okay, Rencontre Pitch at Biennale de Lubumbashi. I will just go through my presentation without reading, so we can gain some time. Not to be didactic, but just to show the Congo in the African context, and the yellow country are the country who were involved on those we called the African World War, which was in fact involved much more countries. It's the war we face since 20 years because of economical reason most of the time. So the city I'm coming from, Lubumbashi, is in the southeast, and it's 2,000 kilometers from Kinshasa, which is the capital city of the Congo, and there's no road to go to Kinshasa, so the only way to travel is by flight. But it's also 2,000 kilometers down south to Johannesburg, which is now my second hometown, and to go to Johannesburg you can go by car as well. So it's a very strange situation where the city is looking south and looking in other connection with English-speaking Africa. I'll go quickly to show you some of the venues which are part of the cultural program of the colonial era. This is the Civic Theatre, which is now used as the House of Parliament. It's a building built in the 50s by Belgian architects. This is a National Museum, which is completely empty of exhibition. We have one exhibition for 10 years now, made at Tervuren Museum, which is a former colonial museum. So we have infrastructure, so-called infrastructure, but not really a thinking about the content of infrastructure. And some of the infrastructure, like the Civic Theatre, are used for something else, and some other infrastructure, like this theatre, which is the Théâtre de Camalondo, are collapsing. You can see the ceiling there. We also have, what I really like to work with is this place, for instance, is the Place des Martyrs, is the place where Striker during the Second World War was shooted, and the place was prepared to host a monument which doesn't exist. And this is a very interesting place as well for me. We have made a lot of performances at that place. So we have infrastructure and we have spaces, and the content are still to be built, and there's no institution to do that. So that's the reason why Sami Balogi and myself, we started Picha as a project to look at the city and to ask how to interact with it. I keep this quote by Simon Jamy, who was the curator of the second Lubumbashi Biennial in 2010. In fact, he wants just to explain the way he worked on the city center in the three parts. The former white city, the former black city, and the neutral zone, which is this, the cordon sanitaire. It's 800 meters, 700 meters from the city for the white and the city for the black. And it's because they assume that's the length that the mosquito cannot fly from the black city to the white city and carry malaria. So this is still a place which can still be seen in the urban landscape. This is the way we want to look at what we call, 10 years ago we started some project named Patrimoine, Journée du Patrimoine with the French Institute, which is a very, in fact, neo-colonial way of looking at the heritage as something which is linked to the building, the colonial style and all that. And I want to quote Johan Lahau, who was he's an architect. We worked with him in 2010, and since then, he said, an analysis of urban form and building in formerly colonized territory can not only widen our understanding of architectural history as such, but also provide us with a powerful tool to critically reassess the history of colonialism itself. And that is very important for us to move forward this idea of good building, and you have seen we have a lot of chefs-d'œuvre of 30s architecture in Lubumbashi. So this is also a way of seeing the landscape with all the traces they have. This work by Sami Balogi, who I've talked to you before, who is the colleague with whom I founded Picha. So with Simon Jamy in 2010, we developed those 3 routes, and you can see the blue one is a neutral zone, which crosses the city. So the map is going also in beyond. I will quickly show you some of the things we did together, which are very similar. That's what I've seen in Tunis. I'm so happy that we have a lot of things to share. So this is a billboard on a photo of Kiluanji Karenda, which was presented before as well. This is a screening in the neutral zone, which is still remaining. And this is another screening in front of the Justice Court of a video by Berry Bickel. She's a Mozambican artist living in Zimbabwe. So we did 2 editions of the Biennial, now 3. We did another one in 2010. Sorry, the second edition should be up that side. It's a change of computer. So this is the shift between the two, the second biennial being a kind of turnover for us, because we invited a well-known curator who make us generously agree to work with us, and we did a book and we tripled the budget. But even if we tripled the budget, it's still below $200,000 even now. That's a budget with whom we are working, so it's very narrow. And in 2010, we started an art center, because we want that biennial not to have the legacy, to carry the legacy of one edition to another, and to work with local artists, because we felt that gap between the international artist who has been training, who has a lot of capacity, who has infrastructure, but most of the time was just a space to discuss and to share views. So we don't have capacity to give them, but we have at least a space to think. And we started from that doing a project named Close Openings, which was a continuity of this intervention. This is an artist named Pecho Kamunga from Lubumbashi doing talks. This is a writer named Claude Sinzomene in the place of Picha Art Center doing publishing. We published, for instance, this book named Chronique du Congo, with a photography of Kiripi Katembo. He's a photographer from Lubumbashi, and a lot of workshops where you can see some writers working with video artists. You can see Sami in the bottom there, and Dorothy Creutzfeldt, a South African artist. So all those activities just to make sure that the biennial is not a one every 2-year event for 2 weeks spending all that money, because it's a lot of money we are spending, and we are very responsible of that, because there's very few organizations who has legitimacy to benefit from funding. So for us, it's very important to make something happen. So in 2013, we did Enthusiasm. That was the 3rd biennial, which was curated by Elvira Diangani Ose. She's a curator from originally from Equatorial Guinea, holding a Spanish passport. And yes, she wanted to think about this idea of how this intervention in public space can be seen in another way, how it can make a social imaginary of the urban scape space, and how it can implies a narration of the city from the bottom up. So it was in this project a lot of thinking we brought together to see in which way we can use new media, social network, other collective platform to experience dialogue and to rethink history and urban space. So this is the list of the artists we had for the 2013. I think we could invite half of them to be present and to show, to discuss with the audience. We have a lot of conference and discussion, like here it's Mikhail Sobotsky at the Fine Arts School discussing with a student. This is also some local artists, like this work named Death After Life by Georges Senga, who is a photographer from Lubumbashi, who is now in a residency at Vils in Brussels. And this is the exhibition place at our place at Picha Art Center of Sabelo Mlangeni of a series named Ghost City, and you can see Elvira behind. How to rethink that idea of the city, of social landscape, that imaginary from bottom up? The new way of thinking the city for us was to ask people to map the city according to themselves. So what the city, for instance, is an artist named Jean Katambai, who is now doing an exhibition at Palais de Tokyo. He's from Lubumbashi as well. He's part of the small Picha family. He started mapping his place. So that way you see Aero is the airport, and the M below is Maison, his home, and the source on the top is Source, where his mother lives, and all those points where he's living, he's moving. For instance, PI, very central. I'm so happy it's Picha, and the CY is cyber cafe, and CY with an N is non-reliable cyber cafe. So around his home is a lot of non-reliable cyber cafe. And how you can map the activities of him moving in the city, going to the museum, to the fine art, going to make exposition, going to have administration. So have all that in a very small A4 piece of paper. And that's the way we want to rethink that space. We also have this haunted house route by Albert Capepa, a local writer. We also have this informal vendors route from one city to another without going to the main cities, what we name Catriché in Lubumbashi. Some of the time we also have more important projects, like for instance, we were very happy to have Entrée dans la Mine, a project by Angela Ferreira. She used one of these buildings, this modern building in the city center of Lubumbashi, made by Claude Strebel, an architect from Liège. And she asked two singers from Lubumbashi to do a performance on this song, Entrée dans la Mine, Entering the Mine, which is a letter sent from someone to a miner, a new employed miner, to his mother. And he said, I am obliged to enter the mine, so I will die. So you can start my mourning, ma'am. I will not send on the Jürgen Bock, the curator, explain the relationship between the Tatlin constructivism, Russian architect, and the modernism approach of the architecture made by Angela Ferreira. I wanted to start by this very interesting performance video, but I will be out of the time. So from that we started this collaboration with South Africa, with Johannesburg, with Visual Art Network South Africa, which is an art center in Johannesburg, which is partly a thinking about the public space, which is a revolution room, a thinking about collaborative practice in Africa and artist-led initiative, which is the PANIC, the Pan-African Network of Independent Contemporaneity. And this partnership is part of a broader network named Art Collaboratory, which gather artist-led initiatives, sorry, the S is missing, from South Asia, Latin America, and Africa. one of the project we wanted to do is to rethink from a very small community what's the history, what is the relationship to the space and the memory. So we invited some people from the Jeka Mine Cité with a former mine working camp to come to the National Museum and to choose objects from the National Museum which was collected from their neighborhoods. And we sent those objects back in their place, and we started Waza Chumba Wazi, which means imagine the room empty. It was a participative exhibition from the collection of the National Museum. So the object was installed pending from the roof, with some quotes of the people arguing why those objects are very important for them. And we also asked a video artist to make some testimonies of those inhabitants inside their own houses. So this is an ongoing project which will also continue in other areas. And what's next? This year in October, we'll have the 4th edition of Rencontre Picha Biennale de Lubumbashi. And we asked to a Belgian curator from Congolese origin named Thomas Muteba Luntumbwe to be the curator, and he wants to think about fleeting realities, which is réalité filante, a quote where he quotes Édouard Glissant, the Martiniquais, from Martinique writer, poet. And it's every time I talk with people about the biennales, I every time say, will it happen? Have you fundraised enough to do it? And of course the reason is we are fighting for it. And it's so strange to have these two different attitudes, this kind of funding attitude. You know, you don't have enough money, why are you doing that? And at the same time, those people who say, lucky you have a very nice independent initiative. Lucky you can do whatever you want with a biennial, you can shift, you can change the world. And of course, I think we are very lucky of being independent, of doing what we want. It's almost challenging. We have the responsibility to learn a lot about that. And we have the responsibility to share. And that's the reason why I'm so proud and so happy to being able to be in the International Biennial Association. But I want to finish by this idea that it's not an enjoyable situation. And I want to think with you about this fashion of doing project in Congo, this project named Enjoy Poverty, to make you know that at the same time people are dying, and at the same time maybe Biennial can die like ours. Thank you.
Stay. Maybe there are some questions, huh? So stay.
Thank you very much for this short presentation. I would, on the one hand, like to know where you get the money from, and on the other hand, how did your biennials influence the atmosphere of the city?
It's very different from one edition to another because we need to have a fundraising model for everyone. The two first were mainly funded by a local mining company. And then it was a very old style head of company, owner of the company, who wanted to be the father of the city. So he was funding everything happening in the city, including the Biennale, which was one out of three of the budget. So in 2012, he resigned from his position, and his son didn't want to continue. So we had 100% institution funding. And that was very important, a very big moment for us because we had to postpone the biennial because of that. Instead of 2012, we did it in 2013. And that one, at that edition, we have public money from Congolese local government in Katanga. So it's a completely different model, and I can tell you that for the next one, we don't even find which model will organize it. We are very far thinking about the artist and how it will work, but we cannot confirm anything before 2 months before the event. That's the situation we are facing. The second part of the question, how does it change the landscape? I think we were quite successful about the artistic landscape. For instance, there are artists who attend very prestigious residencies and this kind of thing. How are we changing the way of thinking, the way of seeing the society in itself? I think it's quite a challenging question for us because we just discovered that we have this small art community which is part of Picha, and we are thinking that's the reason why we are going to neighborhood, working directly with the community, because most of those people are not coming to Picha Art Center. We are located in the city center, in the former white city. So that's a problem. And now we are trying to do more, to go to see the people there, and I hope that will be the moment to have a connection to go beyond this, sometimes I say, incestuous art community.
Any more questions? Thank you, Patrick. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tarek.
Thank you.